Well, following special counsel Robert Mueller's sweeping indictment against 13 Russian nationals, as well as 3 companies, President Trump stressing that the Russian election meddling began before he even declared his presidency. And he tweeted this, quote, "Finally, little Adam Schiff, the leaking monster of no control, is now blaming the Obama administration for Russian meddling in the 2016 election. He is finally right about something. Obama was president, knew of the threat, and did nothing." Thank you, Adam. Kirsten Haglund is a political commentator, and Antjuan Seawright is a Democratic strategist. Good morning. Antjuan?
Good morning.
Why didn't President Obama do anything about this?
Well, I think the president addressed that several months ago after the President Trump was elected. But the bottom line is we have cold-hearted evidence that Russia interfered into our 2016 elections. We know they hacked into the DNC. We also know they hacked into voter registration rolls all across this country, all in the name of helping Donald J. Trump become president of the United States. They accomplished their goal by trying to disseminate red meat, racial, and sometimes very divisive rhetoric among the American people, and they've succeeded. What we also know, based on the committee just last week by the intel chiefs, that President Trump has not directed the intel chiefs to address Russia hacking into the 2018 elections. And if you're an American citizen, that ought to send chills up and down your spine.
Speaking of intel chiefs, though, Kirsten, you know, going back to the Obama administration, where were James Clapper? Where was John Brennan? This is what the former CIA director tweeted. The DOJ statement and indictments reveal the extent and motivations of Russian interference in the 2016 election. Claims of a hoax in tatters. My take, implausible that Russian actors did not influence the views and votes of at least some Americans. Didn't it become clear? I don't understand why they won't let this go. Didn't it become clear on Friday in that with the report that we got in the press conference that while the goal of Russia was to create discord in our political system, it did not influence the results, which was why stocks went down and then came back up?
Yeah, that was definitely a big part of the indictment. And, you know, the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein coming out and making those statements was that this did not influence the outcome of the election. However, we do know that they definitely did favor one candidate over another. But it was interesting to see also Facebook afterward and say that most of the money spent on ads was spent after the election. But you're right, Lauren. This has been and this has been going on for literally decades. This is not just a Trump thing, an Obama thing. This goes all the way back to Alger Hiss and Franklin Delano Roosevelt. We know that Russia, for time immemorial, has been trying to upset the political structure in the United States because they are enemies of our political ideology. Period. They are enemies of democracy. And that is something that I think our intel chiefs and the broader security and law enforcement community do understand.
So, Antjuan, do you think the president should say he's vindicated so strongly, or should he just lay low right now? What is the best strategy from this White House?
Well, I think he needs to implement the sanctions that were passed by
they say they
bipartisan. They haven't. Saying you're going to do something and doing is two different things. I think they need to implement the sanctions. And keep in mind, this was the same president several months ago who said he took Putin's word for him not interfering into the election. So I have zero trust and confidence that Donald Trump is prepared and will address the hacking issue going forward into our 2018 election. And that's not the gospel according to Antjuan Seawright. That is pure fact.
I agree with you here, Antjuan.
Where he said that.
I agree with you. I think the president should be furious at Vladimir Putin. And maybe, Kirsten, do you think that he should outright say, hey, Russia, you interfered. This is not cool. And we do not want you to affect our elections going forward. Do we need to hear more denunciation from President Trump on Russia and Putin?
Yes, we do. And the GOP generally agrees that we do. Americans need to hear that from their president, but also the world needs to hear that, because Russia doesn't just meddle in American elections. They do throughout Europe, obviously in the sphere of countries that they used to influence more broadly. And so not only for our political health, but for that of the entire world, the president does need to take a much stronger stance against Russian political meddling.
Yeah.
Well, Laura, keep in mind the GOP controls this Congress. So if they really were interested in keeping Russia out of our elections, they will put money up on the table, as the Democrats proposed just a few days ago, to prevent this from happening. And they will also lean on their president, their leader, the leader of their party, to implement those sanctions and to become tougher on Russia instead of cuddling up with Putin, as he's done since he's taken office of presidency in this country.
All right. Antjuan, Kirsten, thank you to both of you. We have to leave it there.